I don't think he was advocating for other couples to do this. I think he was telling his own experience.
No, I get it, and I get it. I'm not saying that's. I'm just saying those optics are really bad. You guys are going to see as quickly as I see what the actual nature of this comment truly is.
So I'm not going to lie, that one sounds pretty bad, all right? I'm not going to lie, that sounds pretty bad. I hope the full context saves this.
Okay.
We want to go on the men's side of things. How many times do we women say that our men and our husbands tend to be stubborn and demanding and they think they have the best idea ever when they don't always?
Just search hashtag men are trash on TikTok if you want to see.
Let's stick with the arguments here that he makes.
Would you let him alone in a room with your wife?
Actually, yeah, because I would want to watch him try so hard. And actually, no, he wouldn't go in. He's a coward. He backed out of our debate. He wouldn't even do it. He'd be intimidated by how attractive she is and then just run away. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Midnight Mormons. I am your host, Cardinellis, and today we are joined in the studio by Kwaku L. and Brad Whitbeck and Casey Edgerly. And as you guys know, on this show, we debunk a lot of anti-Christian, specifically anti-Mormon lies levied against the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and its members. There's a doozy that happened this week. Anti-Mormon Bill Reel posted this graphic with all kinds of quotes taken out of context, claiming that Mormonism hurts women with a bunch of brutal claims. And we're going to dive in and we're going to debunk all of these claims in real time, showing you what context they should be put in and talking about how secularism actually does a worse number on women than the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints does. Before we get started, I would like to mirror something Kwaku pointed out. This is the same man who has unironically advocated for couples like his in their 50s.
Me and my wife, for instance, are living non-monogamy.
To pick up on other couples, to quote, see where it goes.
It's the ability to go out some night with your primary partner and to flirt with people and to see where it goes.
So he's advocated for swinging and extramarital affairs.
And it's actually what soothes the soul for the person who feels limited by monogamy.
I don't think he was advocating for other couples to do this. I think he was telling his own experience.
Start talking to your primary partner, and I like that wording because we have relationships with lots of people.
I get it, and I get it. I'm not saying that's. I'm just saying those optics are really bad.
You don't start off having a conversation about non-monogamy. You start off having 100 other conversations where you invite your partner to have a difficult conversation.
And he might want to reconsider that statement, okay?
All I'm saying is I can't prove it, but I know he has a very gross browsing history.
There's an adult baby fetish. There's alien fetish. Amputee fetish. There's armpit fetish. There's a bathroom control fetish, a biting fetish.
Are you going to read it and I'm supposed to guess which one it is?
Yeah, I'm not really into armpits. That's not my thing. No offense to anybody who it is. I know at least one listener out there has an armpit fetish. You're welcome to have it. What do you think it is, Mikkel?
I don't know, Bill. It's probably toes.
It's not toes. My thing is crying.
That's all I'm going to say. God. I know he does. I will put so much money down that his internet browsing history is weird.
Okay, let's stick with the arguments. Let's stick with the arguments here that he makes.
Would you let him alone in a room with your wife?
No, actually, yeah, because I would want to watch him try so hard. And actually, no, he wouldn't go in. He's a coward. He backed out of our debate. He wouldn't even do it. He'd be intimidated by how attractive she is and then just run away. But anyway,
Casey's like, what did I get myself into?
Yeah, what did I get myself into?
Oh, I'm excited.
So we're going to read some of these quotes, okay? We're going to read some of these quotes, all right? And we're going to take them one by one. Who wants to go first? What's the first quote that we're going to read? Casey, you are the guest in our show. Ladies first.
Oh, my.
Which of these quotes do you want to read? And then we'll see what the real quote is behind them, because some of these are he to the hilarious. Emphasis on the he, apparently.
I'm thinking the one about women being stubborn. Can we start there?
Women tend to be shrill or demanding or stubborn, according to Jean B. Bingham.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Start with a bang.
Okay, so just read out the quote right now really fast.
All right. So it says, what does it say? Where is it? Women tend to be shrill or demanding or stubborn by Jean B. Bingham.
Okay, who wants to take this one? What's the real?
So I've met Sister Bingham. She's very, very nice. She's the current president of the Relief Society of the entire church. She's the highest ranked female leader in Mormonism.
And for our listeners that don't know, the Relief Society is the largest women's organization in the world, and all of the members, all the female members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints belong to it. They specialize in, spiritually uplifting each other and performing service projects for people that are in need. So that's what the Relief
It's
Society
also the oldest worldwide female organization.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And this little clip that they're taking away from it, like, it comes from a talk in which she is talking about having disagreements with other church leaders and how she is dealing with that herself. She is speaking to these other women, and the actual quote says, "We women tend to be shrill or demanding or stubborn," in a self-effacing sort of way.
Sarcastic sort of way.
Yeah, where she is saying this like,
And
hey,
by the way, this was in a live conversation called Sister to Sister. This was The View for Mormons.
She was talking to
This
women.
is
She was not talking
Yeah.
to men.
Like, I'm sorry. It's like, okay, how do we humanize our leaders? Let's have them all sit around and talk about these normal subjects like they would at a Starbucks or something. And now it's suddenly Bill Reel is looming over these women, as he's one to do. Looming over these women.
Oh, gosh.
You said they were shrill, huh? And let me put it on my graphic. Like, come on.
And by the
give
way,
me
I'm a
break.
huge fan of showing the evidence of the actual clips and how they were taken out of context. So we're going to go to original Salt Lake Tribune article that did indeed cover this. Okay, and here's the original article. It says, I quote, she's talking about having another, quote, purse slammer meeting with another church authority that she had a personal difference with, that she says to herself was based on personality. Okay, so she's bumping heads with another church leader, okay, where there's friction due to personality, and she says this: "We women tend to be shrill or demanding or stubborn, thinking we have the best idea ever," Bingham said to audience laughter. So she's got a room full of ladies that are laughing. It is basically a dad joke, but a mom joke, I guess we have to call it, okay? And she says, and if they don't see it our way, clearly there's a problem here.
Well, now, and is her context saying that women tend to be shrill and stubborn to each other, not to their husbands? So that is actually a true thing. I mean, like how, throughout history, haven't we women tend to be a little dramatic and shrill with each other?
You know what? I tell you right now, any criticisms that women want to lay on other women, I think are really meant to be within the forum of girl speech.
It's just venting sometimes, or just being argumentative. Plus, if we want to go on the men's side of things, how many times do we women say that our men and our husbands tend to be stubborn and demanding and they think they have the best idea ever when they don't always?
Just search hashtag
saying.
men are trash on TikTok if you want to see.
So, this is just a true statement about, people's relationships in general. We tend to butt heads.
Okay, and the hilarious part about this is all of the anti-Christians and the anti-Mormons and the ex-Mormon anti-Mormons at first went crazy with this, and I think it still exists in the zeitgeist of wokeism, because at first they thought Jean B. Bingham in their ignorance was a man, that it was Jean B. Bingham. And they thought that they could lambaste him for having said that, until there was such an uproar that I think the church in the final transcript might have just removed the term shrill, because it was like, dude, we're not even going to publish it. Your guys is taking this out of context, understanding no text. I have to look at that before I quote myself. But yeah, so he's 0 for 1. Would you say that was a fair representation?
For women? No. Well, I mean, if it's taken in the real context of being, joking around with each other, why not? But as far as the church demeaning women and making this a statement about women, absolutely not.
Okay,
Okay.
so you don't think that women are allowed to joke around with their friends?
Oh, we absolutely
and
can.
without the approval of men like Bill Reel?
Have you ever seen Twitter or Instagram comments? I think we do it all the time.
Yo, savage. Okay, well, let's jump on to the next one. Brad, you choose one.
Let's go with "You are the helpmeet, you are not the head" Thomas S. Monson.
Okay, so as you guys can see on your screen at the top left.
So I'm not gonna lie, that one sounds pretty bad. All right, I'm not gonna
Yeah,
lie,
it
that sounds
does.
pretty bad. I hope the full context saves this.
Okay, well, hold on a second, because what you'll notice is there's no period on this sentence. Okay, so obviously there's another half of the sentence. Who has the quote? Who looked it up in real time?
It's just put on the Discord.
Oh, it's in
on
the
there.
Discord.
It's on
Okay,
the
check this out. So in real time, you guys are going to see as quickly as I see what the actual nature of this comment truly is. And here it is. I'm going to put it up on the screen from Thomas S. Monson. Hallmarks of a happy home. And what does Thomas S. Monson say? He says, sustain your husband. In speaking to missionaries, I frequently counsel them, love your companion. Make him a part of all you do. He may be short or tall, thin or fat, handsome or homely, but he's all yours. So I'm going to pause there for a second. So he's talking about unconditional love of somebody, whether or not they look fat in that dress or not. So far,
Exactly.
he's doing really, really well. Okay. But then he says, I think I need to elaborate on the analogy.
Need not elaborate.
Or need not elaborate on the analogy. So he's making an obvious analogy that how you work well in intimate circumstances with your heterosexual colleague in the mission, also known as your companion, might be a type and a shadow, dare we say, for how you work with your eternal companion or your wife. So he says, your husband is yours. Together you form a partnership with God. Your husband, as the priesthood bearer, is the head of the home. You, the helpmeet, are not the head, but just as important, the heart of the home. Okay, so your thoughts, Brad. This one's yours.
No, dude, I mean, looking at that, you cannot have anything continue forward without a head or a heart. Like, this is an equality thing that is just a separation of what kind of things you deal with.
Just because you use different analogies doesn't mean that there's not equal partnership,
Mm-hmm.
because we always talk about being equally yoked.
Yeah. Does this mean that the old lady in My Big Fat Greek Wedding was harmful to women when she said, the woman is not the head, but she is the neck, right? Like,
It's
is that
absolutely
harmful to
true. I
women?
will say that from a woman's point of view. Like, and I love my husband, but, sometimes we have to let you think it's your idea. Just think about that.
Gender biased and sexist.
Oh my gosh, but every woman who is, for women's rights and women empowerment will appreciate that.
But also, I mean, think about it this way. If he was just saying, women, you're not the... What, can't do my Monson? Sisters, you're not the head of the household. He didn't say that. He said, you're the heart of the household. The head and the heart. By the way, you know what? That's a scriptural phrase. Okay,
Yeah.
that's like the head and the heart. It's like he's called. It's like when Holland said musket and trowel is going back to the sword and trowel.
Right.
It's a scriptural phrase. Or pistol and ball.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pistol and ball.
And this is about like being equal partners, like I think it's helping people understand how they can actually get along with one another better.
So
Yeah.
are you suggesting that anti-Mormonism, which is largely populated with fornicators, adulterers, and swingers
Me and my wife, for instance, are living non-monogamy.
as their gods and main podcasters, are taking comments about true female equality out of context in order to lead people out of their faith and home wreck for profit off them? I'm talking to you, John DeLynn, and now Bill Reel. You know what I'm saying? Are you
Bill
saying
really
that they're-
creepy. Look,
Bill-
here's okay. Also, can we just be real for a minute here?
Yeah.
How many times have you with your wives or me with a girlfriend or whatever? All right, let's go get some food. Hey, where do you want to go? I don't know. Like, you just pick. Of course. Like, how do we? Come on. Like, I'm sorry. The reality of the entire world. Everybody knows that men tend to be a little more decisive, and even if we don't have an idea, we just make something up. Because
Or maybe that's also women not understanding your financial circumstance, allowing you the ability to pick and to be
Agreed.
graceful.
I do agree with that.
I can't say what I
Because
want to say
it's-
right now on camera.
Oh, if
but
it, okay. If you, oh, no. So what? You're broke as a joke, so they choose TGI Fridays.
I would
it's
never
okay.
take a girl
No,
to TGI Fridays.
Just kidding. I'm
No, I took a
kidding.
cougarette
That
to
still exists?
that super like fancy place at the Riverwoods. It was a great date. But you know what? Had I said, I'm not sure, where do you want to go? Over. Like, I'm sorry, there is a women make jokes about this, like how unattractive it is when a man doesn't have the confidence to just like make the move and just. Why don't women generally don't go ask out boys? They wait at the bar. Her nails are done, her hair's done. She's waiting there, and she's waiting. She sees the guy. The guy looks at her, and she's gonna look at her friend. I hope is he gonna come talk to me, or is he gonna be a little bee?
I don't.
And he's gonna walk up to her. I'm sorry. We do live in a world.
I don't hang out in bars, Kwaku.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding.
So let me ask you.
You lived in New York, Garden.
Yeah.
Wait, let me ask you. When you take her on this date and you make the decision, do you also choose what she eats?
No. That's
that
weird.
seems a little bit weird.
Totally kidding.
No.
But haven't you heard that to be like the assertive man? You actually
really?
order for the woman. She likes the assertiveness.
Order for the woman is good. Not like you ask what she wants.
No, that's what I'm saying.
But when the waiter comes, like, what do you guys want? And you say,
But people-
I'll have this, and then she's already explained
If
to you
it's
what she
sexy
wants.
and you do it in a foreign language, maybe.
No. If he says, I'll have this steak and she'll have this salad, it's like, oh my gosh. But you're already making 10 minutes of small talk when you have the menu anyway. It's like, oh, this looks good. Oh,
Right,
this shrimp scampi.
right.
By the way, the
Oh, I want
best
this.
thing- the best-
And then when he comes, you say, oh, she already know what she's already told you what she wants, so you order just both.
But okay, so I think it switches though, like when you get married, because my husband's now like, where do you want to go? And I'll be like, I don't know, where do you want to go? He's like, you decide. And it becomes this, I've had to become to be the assertive one.
I
and would you
found
like it if you just made a decision?
I would.
Okay. Are you?
And I've found a way around it, by the way.
Yeah.
A solution for that is if I ever don't know where to go, or I'm like really wanting to know where Riley wants to go, I'll just, man, she's going to see this and know my secret. What I do is I just say, hey, guess where we're going tonight? And then she'll always tell me where she really wants to go, and it works out just
That's
fine.
a good idea. But
Ooh.
my husband has told
Jedi
me,
female mind tricks.
well,
Yeah.
and listen, for women out there that are listening, my husband has always said, why don't you just decide? So instead of asking permission or asking things, and he will agree with this, I've started to be like, hey, here's what we're having for dinner. Does that work? Okay. And just be like that, because
And by the way, I find it ironic that the dude who's saying that Mormonism hurts women, like, rarely ever interviews women on his show. I don't know, but I bet you if I looked him up right now, it would be predominantly white, middle-aged, ugly, angry men. You know what
the
I'm
guy
saying?
who goes to University
As guests
Mall
on
and
the
is
show.
like, so you just want to like see what happens?
It's the ability to go out some night with your primary partner and to flirt with people and to see where it goes.
Oh my God.
That wasn't quick.
Looming over young women
Your
in front of the
accents are
Foot
so
Locker.
horrible.
I know.
Your accents are so horrible. And the best part about it is, though, like, the best part about your accents is the accent you did just before that terrible Bill Reel impression was
The Russian misogynist.
I couldn't tell. It was bad, and it was good enough that we could tell it was foreign, but it was bad enough that we couldn't place which one it was. So all of the Indians are angry, the Russians, the Armenians,
Kazakhstanis.
the Kazakhstan. You just basically angered all of the Middle East. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
Which is
can.
a great place to anger.
Kwaku gets to
no,
it.
It's in my genetics.
That's funny. Okay, so can I choose the next one?
Yes, please.
Okay, so we're gonna go here and we're gonna look at his we're gonna look at his graph here, and the next one, let's take this one because this is such garbage. John DeLynn says this too. Do you wish to marry a girl whose education has been far superior to your own? Gordon B. Hinckley ?
They're taught that for the most part, women should not pursue their education.
Making the insinuation, obviously, that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and Christendom in general, this is something levied against Christians at large as well, that we don't want you to get that education. You know, you should be there all barefoot in the kitchen, right? Well, let's see what the quote really is, because let me tell you, the church educational system that runs BYU, whose enrollment is majority female, okay, might have something a little bit different to say about that. But let's see what the quote is as a whole. Who's got it? Somebody looked it up. You got it, Brad?
I have it, I believe. But no, let's take a look at it. Okay. Let me read this to you. So it says, no boy anxious to please his heavenly Father would fail to take advantage of educational opportunities. But there is a troubling trend taking place where young men are more likely to drop out of school than young women. So it is plainly evident that young women are exceeding young men in pursuing educational programs. So first of all, he's talking about just that women are getting actively involved in their education. That's all he's saying. And so he says, and so I say unto you, young men, rise up and discipline yourself to take advantage of educational opportunities. Jokingly, do you wish to marry a girl whose education has been far superior to your own? We speak of being equally yoked, and that applies, I think, to a matter of education. So he's talking about just getting yourself...
And he literally says, we speak of being equally yoked,
Exactly.
and that applies to your education. They say this as though he's saying women shouldn't get educated.
When he's saying men should get educated, yeah.
Yeah.
And he's just actually saying, guys, let's just keep
and
up with each
he's
other.
appealing to the competitive instinct in males. Okay? There's females that have a nurturing instinct. How many times do you see female leaders of the church getting up in Relief Society saying, women, we need to care for each other. We need to nurture each other's testimonies, okay? We need bedside manner spiritually. Like they're always making nurture arguments, okay, to the gender that is scientifically proven to demonstrate nurturing capabilities in a higher degree than the other gender. This is basic, settled social science. Okay, so when the male leader talking to male priesthood holders says, look, guys, we need to be equally yoked. Having a family requires multiple propulsion units. You know what I'm saying? Let's make sure that we all go out there and we're all loving, we're all educated, we're all smart, we're all articulate, we're all this, we're all that. Come on, do you want the other head of the house with you? Or not the other head of the house, the other propulsion unit next to you to be more educated than you? Come on, man, compete. This is not misogyny. Yet these people, this is how they lie to you. They take things out of context, purposely knowing it's wrong in order to try and tell you that your ancestors, your family, and everything good in your life is somehow fake. And that's called being a liar. Bill Reel, you are a liar. Prove me wrong. That's not defamation if you can prove me wrong. Prove me wrong that you knew the context of, that you didn't know the context of every single one of those quotes, having been a bishop of a congregation yourself in Ohio. Prove to me that you didn't know these weren't taken out of context, and all of his followers that hate watch our content and repost it, prove to us that you knew he didn't know he was taking these out of context. You are willingly submitting to dishonest arguments in order to propagate bad narratives. That's called lying. Brad, you wanted to say something?
I just wanted to say, it's just so enormously easy to pull things like this and make them look bad.
It's what the media does.
Yeah.
To everyone. Mm-hmm.
It's just easy for them to do. So all they do is they look up all these random things, look up a buzzword or two, and then go through, pick out little tiny things that they can try to make people angry over. Because there's nothing that actually is helpful to women in this graphic, by the way. It is trying to incense women at the church.
Also,
that's the goal.
Who's the woman in this picture?
It's probably a missionary attire appropriateness
That's
publication.
what I'm
I'd assume.
thinking.
So
Yeah.
did he choose some random woman from the internet and then define her as someone who's being harmed by the church by virtue of putting her on this image, as opposed to getting any, express permission to use her likeness?
That's true.
Does she have a tattoo on her left wrist?
She does.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, so he
cool.
just found some random stock picture of a woman.
Well, and then this is what bothers me is like, imagine how much stress is being caused by couples, families, and young females who are trying to figure out their identities in the world right now, their place in the world right now, and being told that there's a church that hates them, thinks they're lesser, think there's this, think they're that. Think of the stress that's causing and how abusive that is actually on female members of these churches.
I absolutely agree with that. And
that's worse than that's so much worse than any one of these arguments that we've shown. That's worse than telling a kid, come on, man. Do you want to be less educated than your counterparts?
Well, and to talk about that, like the whole talk that came from was called Seek Learning by Gordon B. Hinckley, and he was talking to the men and the women of the church talking about education. And isn't it true that we are here in this life to educate ourselves and to learn as much as we can before we leave? Because your education and your spirituality is all that you take with you. So I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Well, if I can I'll add one last quote I want to read because it's really funny. Look, there's a certain level at which something is offensive, but then it becomes funny when it's like way more in the past. So Mark E. Peterson is considered one of the most problematic apostles. That dude is
that guy.
absolutely hilarious. And everyone knows it's hilarious. For example, and everyone's like, what on earth?
What does that even
hilarious.
mean?
I don't know. And then he also said this. Many of our women now feel obligated not only to display their bodily shaped knees, but their thighs as well.
badly shaped knees.
Oh, badly shaped knees. Okay, let me try that again. Okay. Many of our women now feel obliged to not only display their badly shaped knees, but their thighs as well. No woman looks as lovely as when she is properly and fully clothed. What woman can suppose that ugly knees and bony shoulder blades can add luster to her charm?
And he's saying this in what? The 60s? Or
I think
the
it was
70s?
the 40s. Wasn't he from the 40s?
He died in 84.
84. So your bony knees and your bony body are ugly. So he's telling you to be.
Okay, but also, how many times have we
voluptuous and
heard?
beautiful.
How many times have we heard these guys get up and say like, come on, deacons, tuck in your shirts and throw on a tie. You look. I would have a bishop that literally said, "You're so skinny. If you turn sideways, you slip behind the tent poles or something like that." He said, He said
You
it takes
disappear.
two of you to cast a shadow. Believe it or not, I used to be like really skinny. Okay, and literally I would have these guys say, "Oh, it takes two of you to cast a shadow," because it's a joke.
Also, this guy in like the 60s, this is more indicative of the culture he was raised in.
The video
Of
can we? I know you
Sean
hate doing this
Connery?
in real time. Can you go to YouTube real quick?
Okay, yeah, what?
Type in Sean Connery, Barbara Walters.
yeah, and as he's looking this up, like this
Oh,
is
this
about
is where he
his
said
culture.
a woman should be slapped every once in a while.
Pull up the video.
Yeah, so I think this is more indicative of his culture than that Mormonism hurts women.
Exactly.
You know, like
Yeah, it's one
it's
of
not
the-
a
that
tenet of
first one.
Mormonism that your knees are ugly.
Right.
That's just some
That's
random
just
guy's
cultural.
opinion being like brought into something as he's speaking.
Okay, so here's the epic quote of one Sean Connery interviewing Barbara Walters. I remember this when I was a kid.
An interview in which you said, it's not the worst thing to slap a woman now and then. As I remember, you said you don't do it with a clenched fist, it's better to do it with an open hand. Yeah, remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I didn't love that.
I haven't changed my opinion.
You haven't?
No, not at all.
You think it's good to slap a woman?
No, I don't think it's good.
You don't think it's bad?
I don't think it's that bad. I think that it depends entirely on the circumstances and if it merits it. Yeah.
Or what would merit it?
With that
Well,
accent.
if you have tried everything else, and women are pretty good at this, they can't leave it alone. They don't want to have the last word, and you give them the last word, but they're not happy with the last word. They want to say it again, and get into a really provocative situation. Then I think it's absolutely right.
Oh my god. And so this is the era in which this kind of thing gets said about ugly knees, which has nothing to do with the gospel.
Yeah, they're not quoting scripture here.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. Look,
You know?
old guys. I'm sorry. Our culture was more misogynistic, but this is just like what they were like. I'm sorry. They're just like their coworkers. They like pinch them on the butt and be like, "You're looking good." Like I'm.
Yeah, oh, jeez.
Toots.
Toots.
Toots. Not.
Nice Freudian slip
You're
there,
looking good.
Kwaku.
Toots.
Oh, jeez. Okay, so basically, would
Like,
you
remember
say...
when Donald Trump said that Hillary Clinton goes, "Oh, she's got a the Carly Fiorina goes, she's got a fresh mouth on her." I didn't even know that was a thing people said. That's how old school that is.
Wait,
like
a fresh mouth.
What does
means
that
like-
mean?
because she insulted him. She's like, "Oh, she's got a fresh mouth on her." No one even knows what that means. It's one of those
Yeah, like
old
say,
school-
"Don't get fresh with me."
Yeah, it's
like,
an old
yeah,
school
okay.
like idiom thing that no. I'm sorry, this is just old American dudes are just like that. Okay,
so
It's just
Casey, how do you feel about these arguments? We got 30 seconds here before we got our heart out. How do you feel about this?
I think that it's an unfair statement altogether. All of them put like this, like you said, a lot of lies. Because especially as women in the church, I've never felt demeaned or demoralized in any way, like I was lesser than somebody. I actually have always been taught that it's a partnership between a man and a woman. So I actually, it's more offensive to have someone say something like this than it is to, it's just offensive.